Hey everyone, it's Steve here, and in today's video, I'm going to talk about Theta Decay. So if you're someone who likes to sell cover calls or even buy leaps options like myself, then this video is perfect for you because it's really important that you understand what Theta Decay means. Some of you guys have been asking me questions like, Steve, I sold a cover call last month for around $500, and every day when I check on it, it seems to be losing value. Like, why is this happening? And for those of you who don't know, when a cover call contract loses value, it's actually a good thing for the seller, like yourself or myself. So in this video, I'm going to do an in-depth explanation for absolute beginners on what Theta Decay means. And I'm going to talk about three things. First, I'm going to talk about theory. I'm going to tell a little story because remember, I come from a public school teaching background, so I'm going to make things very easy to understand. Second, I'm going to talk about application and do a real life example, kind of go through the option chain. And third, I'm going to wrap it up with a summary. And typically when I talk about theory, application, and a summary, this is usually the flow that most of my followers and students like to hear because this is the easiest way to learn. Okay, so let's talk about the three aspects of this video. First, I'm going to tell a little story. So first, let's talk about a story about a milk salesperson. I'm just making this up, but I think hopefully you guys can maybe understand the analogy here. So let's say that you go to a store or an outside market and there's a person trying to sell their milk to you. And this milk comes from a cow that's really good, that produces really good milk, and it's $10 per gallon. Kind of expensive, but it's really good milk, right? And if you check on the expiration date, you can see that there are around 30 days until expiration, until the milk goes really bad. Now, as you take a look at the milk, if you were to buy the milk and maybe you keep it in your refrigerator and you kind of forget about it, you don't really drink it or anything, after a certain amount of days, the milk is going to start going bad because like food, everything expires, right? And it gets rotten, it just starts to smell. And you can see that as we progress to maybe one day until the milk expires, what happens to the value of the milk? That's right, the value of the milk will start to decrease. It'll become less and less and less. And it might not be worth $10 anymore like 30 days ago. It now might be only worth around 5 cents. It makes sense. And it's the same thing with selling cover calls. When we sell cover calls or a cover call contract, initially when we sell it for maybe 30 days until expiration, the contract might be worth around $500 or $600, depending on what stock that you sell it for, right? But let's just use $500 for this example. Well, after time, same thing with the milk. The contract is going to lose a little bit of value every day, and that by the time it gets very close to expiration, it's going to be worth very little, to maybe even $1, right? So if we were to maybe take a look at these three steps here, these three scenarios, you can sell a cover call and it might be worth $500. And if every variable stays the same, because I want to keep this video as simple as possible for beginners, then the value of the contract might go down to $1. And by the time of expiration, when there's 0 days until expiration, when it actually expires, then the contract is going to be called worthless. That's right, I didn't make up this word. A contract can be termed or deemed as worthless, or it'll expire worthless, where the contract value will be $0, just like what you see on the screen here. So what is theta decay? Like, what does this all mean? Well, theta decay just means how much money a contract loses a day. That's it. So when you sell a cover call contract, how much does it lose? Does it lose like $2 a day, $5 a day, $10 a day? So kind of going back to another analogy, maybe we can talk about ice cream, because I love ice cream. And you can see that with this ice cream cone, if you were to buy ice cream, maybe you just leave it out, you live in a very cold place, I don't know, I'm just making this up. It'll lose 5 cents per day. That's kind of like the rate of how much the ice cream's value is going to lose per day. And if we talk about actual cover calls, some cover call contracts can lose around $10 a day or $5 a day. Okay, so let's go over to point number 2 and talk about the real life application where we look at an actual option chain. Again, I'm going to choose Amazon because that's a stock that I like, but you can choose whatever stock that you're most comfortable with. I'm going to go all the way down here to the option chain and I'm going to open it up. And for those of you who don't know what the option chain is, quick reminder, it's just a marketplace for people to buy and sell their call and put options. And for this video, I'm just going to talk about the call options because we're talking about selling cover calls. I'm going to expand this out and let's take a look at the contract values of June 7th, which is the time that I'm recording this video right now. There's 0 days until expiration. If I expand this and I were to go all the way down here, I'm going to, again, focus all my attention on the call option contracts on the left-hand side. Remember, on the left, this shows all the call options. On the right, this shows all the put options. Let's just only focus on call options right now. If you take a look at under the bid column, you can see that, wow, all of these say 0. Why does it say 0? Just like what I explained before, all of these contracts have expired worthless. All the milk is not drinkable anymore. Like no one wants it anymore. You can't use it anymore. And it's the same thing with the options, right? You can see that these are all $0. They're all expired worthless. Now, if I were to go to maybe another expiration date, I can maybe go out to around the 35-day expiration date, July 12th, 2024. And if I take a look at the same strike prices just as before, hey, look, you can see that this contract right here is around $500 or $515, right? And if you were to say scroll, let me kind of go all the way down here. I'm going to scroll all the way to the left here. You see how there's this column called Theta Decay? Well, let's see what the Theta Decay is for this contract. It's negative 0.08, right? That means that this contract loses around 8 cents per share or $8 per contract. Remember, we like to multiply things by 100 because whenever we sell cover calls, everything's in multiples of 100. So this contract loses around $8 or $9 per day. All right. Okay, so that's the rate of decay for these contracts. Now, if I were to maybe say go back to a 14-day expiration or 7-day expiration, let's see what the Theta Decay is for the same exact contracts. Let's take a look at the $185 strike. And if I were to, again, scroll all the way down here, I'm going to scroll all the way down to the Theta so we can see the column here. If I go to the $185 strike, look at the Theta Decay. It's around negative 0.19, right? This means that it loses $19 a day. 19. It went from around $9 to around $19. So do you see that as we get closer to expiration, Theta starts to expand. Theta starts to grow really, really high. And this makes sense because it's kind of like bacteria in milk, right? If you were to have milk and you kind of let it sit out for a while, yes, it's going to start getting bad over time. But once you get closer to the expiration date, all the little bacteria inside the milk, it's going to start to expand rapidly. This is what we learn in biology in school, right? And it's going to get worse and worse and worse exponentially. And this is the same thing with contracts too, because again, Theta starts to increase very, very fast as you get closer to expiration. Now, if I were to take a look at the other side of the spectrum and maybe even go to a really far out expiration, like we go get milk that expires for a year, okay? No such thing, but I'm just making this up. I'm going to go all the way to the June 20th, 2025 expiration. This has around 375 days until expiration. And I'm going to go all the way to the $185 strike. We're going to keep the contract strikes the same. And then again, I got to scroll all the way down to the Theta column right here. Let's see what the Theta Decay is. Whoa. Okay. This Theta Decay right here is negative 0.041. This means that if we move the decimal to the right twice, we're multiplying by 100, it loses around $4 a day. $4. Do you see how it went from $4 to around $9 to what? $19, right? So what does this tell us? Well, if we are a cover call seller, we typically want to sell contracts that are around 30 to 45 days away. I'm going to make a more in-depth explanation on how I choose expiration dates, maybe for the next video or next video. If you want me to make a video on this, you can let me know in the comments. But typically as a cover call seller, we want to sell contracts with an expiration date around 30 to 45 days away so that the theta decay is really, really fast. So why is this? Okay, so let's take a look at some illustrations here. Let's go back to the example of the milk salesperson, where you and I, we are the milk sales people. We are going to sell milk to other people. And we're going to sell this $10 gallon of milk to someone, and this other person is going to buy it, and they are going to forget about their milk in the refrigerator, and maybe until like 3 days or 2 days until expiration, the value of their milk is going to be very, very small, right? It makes sense. It might go down to like $2 or $1. What we could do as a milk salesperson, which I'm just making this up, it doesn't even make sense. We could go to the person who bought the milk from us and be like, hey, Joey, I noticed that you didn't drink my milk. You just left it in your refrigerator. I can actually buy my milk back, but for a cheaper price. So Joey might say, sure, why not? I'm not going to drink it anyway. And you can buy the milk back for maybe $2. So I know this story doesn't make sense or anything, but in essence, we still make money because we sold the milk for $10, waited for the milk to become like $2, and we buy it back. We made a profit of $8. So this is where I talk about buying back and rolling out, which I'm not going to talk about in this video, but this is what some cover call sellers like to do. They like to sell a cover call, wait for the contract to expire or maybe get close to expiration, maybe decrease in value from $500 to maybe $50 or $20, and then they will go to the person who bought it from them and buy back the contract for a lower price. Okay, so hopefully this story makes sense. Okay, so let's talk about the third point, a summary of what we just kind of talked about. And maybe with me making this table right here, it'll help you guys visualize everything that we talked about. So theta decay is fastest when the contract has an expiration date of 0 to 30 days. Okay, so I'm just kind of making these categories up. All right, so theta decay is very, very high. By the way, DTE just stands for days until expiration, or days till expiration. It's just an acronym, right? Now, theta decay is also very high when we sell a quote unquote medium term expiration contract that is between 30 to 45 days away. And theta decay is smallest or lowest when the contract has an expiration that is more than 45 days away. Just like in the example that I showed you guys, that is around 360, 370 days away. The theta decay is very, very little. All right, so that's pretty much it for this video. If you guys learned a lot from it, hopefully you guys kind of understand what theta decay means and how you can apply it to yourselves when you sell cover call option contracts or when you buy leaps options, right? If you're a buyer, yeah, let me know if this helped you a lot in the comments. You can give me a like and subscribe if you want to help support this channel. And let me know what other videos you want me to make in the future, because I really try my best to answer all of your questions in the comments. Okay, you guys have a great day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, everyone.